Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. I used to work at a tutoring center, and one thing I notice is that kids have some kind of wisdom that they forget when they grow up, or more accurately, that get brainwashed away as they grow older. So, for example, I was tutoring a sixth or seventh grader, and he was taking a class on success and etiquette and stuff like that. It was getting close to the Christmas season, and they had learned that at a party, if somebody refuses alcohol, that's the end of the story. You don't ask them why, you don't ask them to take a sip, and all that. And I asked him, well, shouldn't that apply to any other thing you might want to put in your mouth if you refuse some cake or some meat or better yet, last year when we were forced to get all these injections, if you refuse that, shouldn't that be the end of the story too? And he said, yeah, I suppose so. Well, but we learned it specifically for alcohol. Now that was the response coming from a 12-year-old. Now when people get older, it becomes a heck of a different story, right? Everybody has to eat, and so you should at least be social, and if you want to avoid meat, at least talk about it. Why? Last time I checked, there are at least 3 good reasons why somebody will refuse food, right? Number 1 is God, right? And you certainly don't want to dig into that. Number 2 is their health, right? Would you, if somebody came to your party in a wheelchair, would you dig into why they need to use a wheelchair, right? If somebody's refusing food and you dig into it, it could be the equivalent of that, right? You certainly wouldn't want to do that, right? And number 3, they don't like the taste, right? I was reading an article one time about how, because some people lie about having food allergies, and it downplays the risk of all that. Let me point something out. Imagine somebody doesn't have an allergy. They dislike the taste of peanuts to the extent that even a trace amount of it, they can taste it, right? There are people like that, by the way. And they prefer that you wash your hands if you touch peanuts. Now, if somebody says, would you mind washing your hands before preparing something, or did you wash your hands, or something like that, that should be the end of the story. And whether it be, because you don't know, right? It could be related to God, it could be related to their health. But whatever the situation is, this person has made it clear that, or better yet, just don't serve them, right? I'd rather see it that way than digging about why somebody can eat something or not, right? But funny thing is, a lot of kids have wisdom that gets lost as they grow older. I was teaching another kid about, he had been doing some kind of project for Pride Month, and so I asked him what his opinion on marrying yourself is. He was surprised that it's not legally recognized. He thought you could do that. He really did think you could file a marriage license with yourself. And I showed him how the state of Arizona had refused it, and then he wondered if you could get because I told him I told him some of the disadvantages of being solo-sexual, right? So, for example, my colleagues, they get to they get these health insurance benefits for their spouse and all that, and my student says, well, couldn't you just give it to your best friend? If you or your friend lose your jobs or something like that, you could use each other's insurance. Yeah, I wish I could do that. I really do. And so you can see a lot of kids have wisdom that gets washed away as we grow older. It's just terrible how every time I talk to one of my students, even the college students, seem to have a lot more wisdom than people who are a little bit older and have had their wisdom washed away, right? It really does feel like that. Anyway, I'll never forget how a 6th grader understood that if somebody refused food, that's the end of the story. If somebody wants to avoid certain foods, you either accommodate them or you don't, or you don't dig into why it is, right? If somebody doesn't want a trace of something, yes, they could be lying about having a health condition, but so what? If you can do it, do it. If you can't, then don't, right?